All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And joining me on a Tuesday this time, Jason Cameron, fresh off a family day, long weekend. I guess you just ate so much food with your family that it made you sick yesterday and you couldn't make an appearance on the podcast, eh?
Nah, you know what? It was weird. It was odd. It was definitely, I ate something that did not agree with my stomach whatsoever. Whatsoever. It was
Yeah.
it was pretty brutal, nasty, but I feel great today.
Oh, awesome. Nice. Good to hear. Family Day, obviously a great holiday Canada puts on. Yesterday was President's Day, south of the border. So you took advantage of Family Day and went and visited family. What do you guys do on Family Day? Is it just eat, sleep, eat, sleep, eat, sleep? Anything else on the agenda?
Eat, sleep, watch some shows, and eat some more. Have some dessert as you're watching shows. Yeah, man, it's a lot of eating. So it was good. It was good. It was
Nice.
exactly what I needed.
Did you fill up all your Tupperware too on the way home?
Well, there's a fridge full of it, so yeah.
Nice. Good job. Good thinking.
Yeah.
Did anybody else get sick?
No, not that I know of. I think it was just me. Yeah, it was just me.
Oh man. Yeah, that's happened too many times in the last little while. Do you have an iffy stomach or do you got an iron gut like I have?
Well, I don't think it's iron anymore. I think as I've gotten older, it's become a little bit more sensitive, which is it's one of the great things about getting older. Oh, my body's changed. This is great.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, glad you're back to 100%. I decided to, after we talked yesterday, I decided to do a solo podcast, just blasted out some of the observations and analysis I had of the weekend of sports. So most of it can be just shared by you tonight. I can kind of just tee it off to you, and you can tell me what you thought of the great weekend of sports. It was a fun weekend. It's getting a bit slower with the NFL done now. Baseball's not quite kicked in. We just got basketball, which was on the All-Star weekend, so not a lot of games. NHL is going, but yeah, it was a bit slow, but still a lot to talk about. UFC Fight Night 219, Vegas 69. Can you believe 69 events at the UFC Apex already?
Yeah, it's funny that there's been that many already in a very short amount of time, actually.
Yeah, it's they just keep pumping them out from there, and lots of great cards. Ones that you don't expect to be good on paper, and turned out to be a good one this past weekend. We also had the 72nd NBA All-Star Weekend from Utah. I enjoyed almost all of the weekend. There was a few things that I had some problems with. I guess I can get into that in a little while, but yeah, pretty fun. The game really sucks. It's pretty bad. It's really too bad that they can't figure out how to do it. If you were commissioner for a day or for a year or just boom, Adam Silver says, "Hey, Jason Cameron, take over the reins." How would you fix this thing? How would you fix that game?
It's a hard one, right? Like because now if you wanted the players to actually take it seriously, you almost have to get the acceptance from their organizations to say that they can actually play hard. Because
Right.
the organizations are the ones that are paying them their wage, their money, their salary, and they do not want them getting hurt
Yeah,
on a game that doesn't mean that much to them.
sure.
So first off, that would have to be figured out somehow, some way. Maybe they go on a separate like insurance policy or something just for the All-Star game.
I see.
Right.
Right.
Second, you, you'd have to make it viable for the players to want to win the game, to
Yeah.
want to play hard, to want to actually squat down and play some defense.
Yeah.
And how would you do that? I don't know. They're millionaires. So what do you want to do? You want to offer them more money, or like maybe you appeal to their charities that they have, or something of that nature. But something there would have to be some sort of incentive there to make them play.
Yeah.
Because what we have going now, which we've had for like the past couple of years, decade, whatever, is nothing. Like it's a shoot around. That's what I'm looking at. It's a shoot around.
Yeah. Yeah, it was ugly. I hated it. I watched a bit and then I flicked it up, changed the channel, did something else. I don't know. I was just like, oh man, this is pretty bad. And turned it back on a few points through the game. And I thought, okay, I've got it recorded. If there was some big moments that I need to see, I can, see it later. I decided to blast through it and watch a few things, but it was really bad basketball. Like, I just can't believe how basketball sucks when there's no defense. It was just unreal. And the only defense that was played really was LeBron James tried to block a shot and he injured himself. So that was like, oh, like you just said, holy crap. Luckily, I don't think it was too serious of an injury, but that knocked him out. Then there was the cool display of one-on-one, mano-a-mano with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, teammates on Boston, end up getting pitted against each other on Team LeBron, Team Giannis, and everybody decided to move to one side of the floor and give the guys their one-on-one battle. And I couldn't believe when Brown hit that first shot and then he did the too small sign, and then Tatum comes down, tries to do fancy moves. It falls out of bounds for him, and he's like, "Oh God!" And then Brown goes down, scores another. Then Tatum goes down, and finally gets the shot, and then gives it back to Brown. Oh no, too short. Look, there he is down there, too short. These are teammates that you don't want to, have any animosity towards, but it was actually probably the most fun part of the whole game.
Yeah, no, that was awesome because they what they exemplified is that, oh no, you guys actually can play defense. Oh, okay, that you can do it if you want to. That's cool. So that was good. I actually enjoyed that. I enjoyed the mono thing. The other thing that I actually enjoyed was the shot making, and not just anybody's shot making. I'm talking about Damien Lillard's shot making.
Yeah.
The shot that he made, where he just pulled up before half court and swished it.
Yeah.
Like it was nothing. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. That's where we're at right now. That's where the game is at. That you have a guy that's that skilled that can pull up before half.
Yeah.
And you know it.
Yeah, well, he's just become incredible. I think Steph Curry was the guy that first started shooting at long distance, wasn't trying to make sure his toes were right there on the 3-point line and trying to get that always around the rim of the 3-point line. And Steph was launching it, over half court at any point. I think Damien ended up becoming as good, maybe even better. Who knows? But just, on par. I always thought it was best 3-pointers of this generation were 3-point shooters were Steph, Clay, and then Damien, and then on down the line. I think Damien's past Clay maybe now. And if Steph doesn't, smarten up and keep healthy, Dame might be the guy that even surpasses him.
Might be. But Dame has been amazing, and he's been amazing for a long time. And by the way, he was your 3-point champion.
Yeah.
As well, right?
Yeah. No, that was my favorite part of that whole skills night that they had on Saturday. I thought that was pretty incredible. I've got a buddy who said, "Hey, I'll take Dame." To his other buddy, "Hey, you take the field. I win 20 if Dame wins. You win 100 if anybody else from the field wins." And that's how confident you can be with Lillard going into it. You look at the whole rest of the guys and think, "Oh man, this is Dame's to lose." But Tyrese Halliburton was awesome. Incredible performance. Probably could have won. Was the best shooter in the first round before they narrowed it down, and it made it fun. It made it really fun. That was my favorite part of that evening for sure.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was awesome to see. It was awesome to see them go mano a mano. And it was quite hilarious to see how some people shouldn't have been in there. Julius Randle would
Yeah,
not have
yeah.
literally been in that at all. But yeah, Dame was fantastic, and I was very, very, very impressed with Tyrese Halliburton in his shooting
Yeah.
efficiency. He was really good.
You said it when Indiana and Sacramento made that trade for Sabonis and Halliburton was going the other way. You said, "Oh, bad, maybe a bad decision, maybe something they're going to regret down the line because Tyrese is, such an emerging prospect superstar, in the offing, and he's really, really, really freaking talented."
No, he's amazingly talented. But now that I'm looking at the trade again, well, I guess Sabonis is not actually bad. He was in the All-Star game too as well.
Yeah.
And now when you look at that trade again, and you see where the Kings are in the Western Conference, I think they're number 4 or something like that. Not as bad as what I initially thought.
I see.
Anymore.
Yeah.
Not as bad.
Yeah. Well, Sabonis had a really crowded front court there in Indiana. He's come into Sacramento and they've just, turned the team over to him. It's become, him, De'Aaron Fox's team really, and it's become pretty incredible there. They've assembled a decent team, and it's been few and far between good Sacramento teams to cheer for and good talent to see on that team. But yeah, that will be something great to watch for many, many, many years to see who actually did win that trade.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm just excited that now the Sacramento Kings fans have like something to cheer about. Like they have an actually good team. Like I want to say the last time they actually had a team that mattered was that with Chris Webber, Mike Bibby, Peja Stojakovic. We're talking, that's a long time ago. That's early 2000s, man. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah. And Shaq called them the Sacramento Queens. And yeah, he said, we ain't afraid of those queens over there. No, I'm not calling them kings. It's always epic, pretty fun. There was a lot of great things on that weekend, though. I didn't love the game. I don't love Utah. I don't like that city at all. I think they should just eliminate that off the map and move on. I'm glad it hasn't been there for 30 years, and hopefully it's 30 to 40 more years before it's there again. I don't like that city at all. The other thing I was kind of angry with was just how much they were trying to change and get this skills challenge going, and that was really epically bad. I couldn't believe. Did you watch how many shots that they put up and missed during that skills challenge that they had? It was pathetic. It really made me think, like, are these guys actually even in the NBA? Like, none of them could make any shots, and it was just really, really bad.
Yeah, it didn't look good. Like, especially with the one grouping where it was, I think it was all the rookies. They couldn't hit a shot. They couldn't hit anything. Where I'm like, oh boys, not a good look. Like, it was so, like, not all of the groupings were bad, but some of them, when they didn't click, it was kind of tough to watch.
Yeah. The other thing that happens in Utah with the Jazz is they always honor Stockton and Malone. Stockton, Malone, the two guys that really kind of kept that team relevant and on the map for many years and during their heyday. Stockton has had some pretty bad transgressions and things that he says. He's something's wrong with him a little bit, I think. And he's not a guy that I think is really, should be a hero from the way he talks. And the mailman, him and I always had a feud. I didn't like that guy during his playing days. He got me thrown out of the locker room once, and him and I had some words, and I didn't think I held the grudge, but I kind of was just like, F that guy. I don't acknowledge his existence for a while. But one of my favorite parts of the weekend was when they honored LeBron James for becoming the all-time scoring leader. They brought Kareem out, and then they brought the mailman out because that's 1, 2, 3 in history, all-time scorers. And good photo op. Kind of nice to recognize the hometown guy that's up in that stratosphere of those other two guys. It was kind of a smart move on Utah's part and the NBA being able to bring those three guys together and recognize them.
No, it was very smart, very astute, very good marketing. And also too, it made sense to get those three together because when's the next time that's ever going to happen? Not for quite some time. So that was really smart on their part. And then also too, just knowing now that LeBron wears the crown like the king, like who would have ever thought that guy would be able to do what he's done? Like let's be honest. Whoever thought that when he came into the league that it's like, well, you're looking at the future scoring leader, the future scoring leader of the league. You're looking at him right now.
Yeah.
And he was known for his passing.
Yeah, no, pass first guy always. And just to be able to be that dominant, be able to average about 30 points a year for 19 seasons into his 20th season. He picked a guy, I think his first pick on for the game was Anthony Edwards, who was 21 years old. He was a baby when LeBron joined the league, and LeBron's still one of the greatest players in the league at this age. It's historic and incredible. And, for sure, there's a lot of people that consider him the GOAT. There'll always be that, rivalry talk and stuff, but he is doing things that no other human on the planet has ever been able to do. And it's just fun to watch. It's just a marvel to just continue to witness year after year.
Yeah, it is. It is a marvel because we've never seen it before. By the way, I don't think we're ever going to see it again.
No.
In this era of load management and stuff. Like we're just never going to see this again. We're never going to see a man at the tender age of 38 put up 30 points a game.
Yeah.
We're not going to see that again.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's amazing. I'm impressed. The other part of the All-Star weekend that got a lot of publicity and a lot of press was this young kid, Mac McClung, only had played 2 NBA games in his life, and he gets put into the mix for the slam dunk competition and wins it. Gets a couple 50 dunks, 50 scores for his dunks, and really seemed to electrify the crowd. All the NBA players that were on the sideline holding their cameras, their phones out. Mouths open wide when he made the dunks he did. It was fun to watch, but this dunk competition has really lost its luster over the last few years. Commissioner had a game, Jason. What would you do to this competition to keep it relevant, keep it fun, keep it moving forward as a thing that we want to see?
Okay. So first off, all hats off to Mac McClung. He actually somewhat resurrected it from the dead because his dunks were insane. They were awesome. They were fantastic. What the dunk contest is missing is superstars.
Yeah,
they're missing that superstar. Missing superstars. Why wasn't Ja Morant in it? Why wasn't Zach LaVine? Well, although Zach LaVine has done his service, but guys of that nature, like that. Those are the guys you kind of need in the dunk contest. So again, I guess we have to incentivize them even to do this. So how about this then? Maybe put up monetary things, let's say it's $2 million for whoever wins, or $3 million, or it goes to your favorite charity or whatever. And then on top of that, say, all right, but you're not just going to go against NBA players. You're going to also go against the professional dunkers. Nice. And then be like, hopefully you don't get embarrassed. Good luck.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It could be really fun to include guys. I mentioned on my podcast there last night, the solo one I did, maybe bring high schoolers in, maybe bring college players, maybe bring guys in. They do some qualification rounds in some of the, playgrounds or gyms around the country. Maybe even have a European division, bringing top European guys from there. I think it would be fun to see them actually NBA stars going up against professional dunkers that you see on YouTube all the time. Yeah. That would be great. I think I would want to tune in, and I think all those YouTube people that are always watching that kind of stuff, you would create a whole new audience of people that aren't tuning into basketball all the time.
No, I think that could bring it back, because as amazing as Mac McClung was, as amazing as his dunks were, I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen those dunks.
Yeah.
And also too, I've seen crazier dunks now. You know,
Right.
like, and that's just the thing. That's the hard thing now with the dunk contest, because I know the players are absolutely aware that it's like, yeah, I can do some of these dunks, but some of these kids can do way better than what I can do.
I know. Yeah. It's weird. I thought even just four guys seemed weird. That seemed not enough. I don't like that they have a clock and they can just continuously try it over and over and over, and make it on their fourth, fifth, sixth attempt. I think that's something that they got to get rid of. But yeah, let's hope David Stern can figure this out, the powers that be of the NBA, and make it back to something cool again. Because it was the marquee event for many years when we had MJ in there. Even back to Dr. J, Vince Carter was one of those transcendent superstars that once he won his, it seemed to just give him unbelievable popularity that he didn't have before. And but yeah, it's weird to see it just lose luster over the years. Great on Mac McClung for doing what he did, but yeah, let's see something new. Bring in different talent, and let's see the NBA stars against the rest of the world. I think it'd be cool.
No, I think that would be cool. I think it just needs new blood somehow infused into it. And if you did something like that, a little bit something, just a little something different, just a little bit something like off the books, I think that could help. I think I could help a great.
You would not believe what I was doing today, man. I was babysitting 2 dogs and a cat all day, and I have to do it all week. Lorraine's family is away right now, and the dogs need attention through the day, and the cat, I guess. And so I'm house sitting and babysitting 2 dogs and a cat. I'm still not picking up their poop, but I am helping them out, being around. It is something that I never, ever, ever thought I would do. And this is an interesting week. This is my second week of retirement, and it's putting a little crimp into the plans that I had. But can you believe that that's my reality this week?
No, I can believe it. I can believe it. At least they have you doing something. They're trying to keep you busy. That's pretty much what they're doing. So do you have to take the dogs out for regular walks throughout the course of the day?
I don't think so. Nobody's told me to do that, and I didn't do that today. I opened the door and let them go out, and run around a little bit, but walking, I haven't heard. Maybe I should ask about the walking, maybe, but
They're dogs, right? So yeah, that's usually what you have to do. You have to, take them out for walks and stuff. I see how you're taking this very seriously. You're taking this very seriously.
I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best.
I see that.
The walking thing. I don't know. I think these dogs don't walk too much. No, I think they just go in the backyard, run around, and good enough. And so I think they're too small to have regular walks. So I think we're good. I think I'm good.
So they're old. Is that what you're saying? It's like
they are. Yeah, they're old. Like, yeah, I think I heard like 12, 13, maybe something like that. So they're old.
I'm gonna give it to you begrudgingly going to give it to you. Okay. I'm like, all right, they're a little bit older. They're seniors. Okay, they don't want much.
Yeah,
begrudgingly.
The one dog doesn't like any people, any dogs, anything. So it would just be barking the whole time I took it for a walk if I did. The other dog's quiet, keeps his mouth shut 100%. But the one dog's yappy, always barking the hell out of anybody that even comes near the house. And yeah, it would just be a bit of a pain walking that one dog that just won't keep his mouth shut.
Okay, well then that's why you're like, better not try.
Yeah. I'll give you some update next week when it's all over with and let you know if I went on walks. If I go on walks though, like I feel like I have to pick up the poop. So like that's something unless I just sort of put a can of spray paint and I just put a circle around it and then when Lorraine comes home she can come get it or you know maybe just knock on the door. Like do you remember when Patty Pimblett did that? Did you see that video?
Oh, okay. So what did he do again? Like, did he find a dog or what? Like,
No, he was walking his dog and his dog messed up on somebody's lawn, but it wasn't a kind of a mess up that you could pick up with a bag. And
right,
so he knocked on the neighbor's door and you know got their Ring camera and they go, "Hey, is this Patty Pimblett?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then they like, "Hey, don't worry, I got a shovel. I'll pick it up once I get home. It's all good, all good. Thanks for letting me know." And you know, it was pretty funny though. They posted it online, and he
yeah,
was being conscientious, saying, you know, "Oh, I don't have the ability to pick up this, but you know, if you got something I can grab, I'll go grab it and pick it up." But they're like,
right.
"No, you're good, you're good."
That was pretty cool. That's pretty cool of him to do that and to make sure that it's like, hey, I would do this, but I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, NBA isn't back in full swing until this Thursday. A couple more days we've got, but there have been moves made today. The Atlanta Hawks fired Nate McMillan today. That was kind of a bit surprising. There was talk that maybe they'll let him do it this season. You know, they've had ups and downs ever since in 2021. They went to the Eastern Conference Final. There was some talk that maybe him and Trae Young weren't getting along, and maybe that was causing a bit of their struggles. They were 29 and 30 heading into the All-Star break, and they've decided to move on from Nate. Too bad. I love Nate McMillan. I thought he would be just an amazing fit there for many years, but they've decided he's not their guy anymore.
It's interesting, right? Because I've heard from other NBA players through their podcasts about how Nate McMillan is, and he's a little bit too old school. Apparently, a little too stuck in his ways. Like he's not willing to, kind of become more modernized with what the players are like and how they go about doing their business. So apparently, they clashed a lot, him and Trae.
Right.
Now the organization has a choice to make. So do you want to keep the player? Do you want to keep the coach? Because if it was just going to keep going along this trajectory, Trae's going to leave.
Wow.
He's going to be like, all right, well, I'm not resigning here. I'm out.
Don't want that.
You can't have that. You can't have all this money that you've invested in this player, and then for him to say, yeah, after my contract's done, I'm done. Yeah. Good luck. Goodbye. Right? Like, so it's like, yeah. So you have to give up on something. And unfortunately, that's always going to be the coach. You're usually always going to go with your star player. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the way of the world. So they've made assistant Joe Prunty the interim coach, but there's lots of rumors now that Quinn Snyder steps up to the top of the list for the replacement. Quinn walked away from the Jazz after being there for many years, and I think it's probably a no-brainer that he'll be the next guy behind the bench there if and when they can get a contract signed.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think he resonates well with like the young players too of this day and age. I think it's a great hire for the Hawks if they do make it. It makes sense.
I heard that Milwaukee Bucks assistant coach Charles Lee is in the mix, as well as Golden State Warriors assistant coach Kenny Atkinson. They probably will bring in 3-4 guys and just get a sense, but I think, as I said, Quinn Snyder steps up to the top of the list. So we'll see. Atlanta's 8th place in the East, 29 and 30 is the record. We'll see in the next 23 games that they have left, will they be able to pull it together? Looks like they're destined for that play-in tournament again, and last year was a pretty big disappointment, getting knocked out in the first round in 5 games, and they will not be happy with that. So we'll see what happens there. Brooklyn Nets have decided to break my heart and not bring back Steve Nash. And they signed Jacques Young to an extension today. His contract will now last through the 26-27 season unless he messes up and they fire him, but he'll be paid anyway through 26-27. He has been 32-19 since taking over. After those jerks torpedoed Steve Nash, he came in and has righted the ship, and they've been a pretty good team. We'll see now that KD and Kyrie aren't there, what this team will look like down the stretch. Who knows? It's a very incredible wild card team, but Jacques Vaughn will be their guy at least for a while.
Yeah. And you know what? He's actually done a really good job. He's done a really good coaching job. He was doing great when KD and Kyrie were there, but now that they're gone, maybe the locker room's actually just going to be better without those guys being there. I'm going to be honest. Although I will say I don't think KD was ever the problem. I think it was the other guy. But I think he may have an easier time of even like coaching these guys because I think these guys now want to be coached. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Some buyouts are happening. The buyout window is on, and Russell Westbrook is going to be bought out by the Utah Jazz and will be signing with the Clippers this week. He might even suit up this week. He wasn't a fit in LA. Didn't seem to ever really work there. Got traded to Utah and now is on his way back to LA, but with the Clippers instead of the Lakers. What do you think this team looks like now with him, PG-13, Kawhi? Do they become one of those guys that you actually have to, one of those teams that you have to think is in the mix to win the West?
I think with some of the other trades that they made before, those were smart trades, like with Mason Plumlee. There was like 2 or 3 other guys. Yeah. Those were good trades. Yeah. Now, with Russell Westbrook, it's like he's an either all or nothing guy. Like it's like he'll make boneheaded plays and then he'll make spectacular plays. Right. But you have to accept all of it. He can win the games, but he could most certainly lose you a couple of games as well. Yeah. So I if they put him in the right scenario where like they put him like with the second unit and he's able to like, you know, speed the ball up, run up and down the court, do fast breaks and stuff like that, I think then he can definitely succeed and he can help this team. But I don't know if you want him to be there in the final 5 minutes of any game anymore. Because I think he's too much of a wild card when it comes to that kind of stuff.
They did make some great moves this month. You mentioned Mason Plumlee. They got Eric Gordon and Bones Highland, both really quality guys. They did lose Reggie Jackson, John Wall, and Luke Kennard out of those moves, but they've seemed to solidify a lot of greatness. And it looks like Russell Westbrook will have to adapt there. And that's his like 5th team in the last 4 seasons or something? Yeah, he just keeps bouncing around all over the place. We'll see how it works out there. Kevin Love is getting bought out by Cleveland. 9 seasons in Cleveland after being brought over by LeBron James years ago. He is now joining the Heat, and that will be interesting. He lost his role in Cleveland. Really was just an afterthought this year, but what do you think in Cleveland we're going to see from him?
I think actually, you know what? I think he still has a lot to give. I think that's actually a really smart move by the Heat to add him to their roster. Adds definite outside shooting that they need, and he's a smart player. Good defensively, his positioning is usually pretty good, and he can still rebound the ball. So I think that was a smart move on the Heat to pick him up. Yeah. And if anything, at least he spreads the floor because they add like another deadly shooter to their roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this buyout window. After the trade deadline, you start thinking, damn, there's not any more moves. There's not any more chess pieces moving around. There's not any more, talk about it. But suddenly now, hey, there's new guys that weren't fitting in with their teams. They weren't going to play a prominent role. They were rebuilding teams, and all of a sudden, boom, we see some movement too, which is kind of cool. Cleveland is a great team, and yeah, I guess Love had just sort of fallen out of favor there, but I think yeah, he are pretty smart to pick him up. I'm sure I'm sure it'll fit pretty well with what they have, and yeah, it'll be interesting to watch going forward.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's going to be very interesting watching them going forward with that. And like the Heat still need to make a couple other moves. I think they were trying to move Kyle Lowry, but I don't think that was successful at all. So, but I think Kevin Love will definitely help their team.
Yeah. Two more notes from the NBA. Giannis sprained a ligament in his right hand. The game before the All-Star break, he will undergo some treatment when the pain subsides, I understand, and he's week to week now. He'll be out a little while. And then the Chicago Bulls announced today that Lonzo Ball will miss the remainder of the season. He underwent arthroscopic knee surgery in the offseason, has had some setbacks and some troubles, and just was never able to get playing this year. They are 26-33 on the year, 2 games back of the play-in, and Lonzo hasn't played since January 14th of last year. It's tough on a guy that's such a key piece of that Chicago Bulls organization, having to miss the remainder of the year.
Yeah, no, it's super tough. It's just unfortunate that his treatment and his rehab has not been going as smoothly as it should have. And it's got to be killing him to not be able to be out on the court, or also too, just to not have your rehab go well enough that you don't see any progress whatsoever. Because it's been a year and it looks like it's going to be so much longer before he could ever even think of getting back on the court.
Yeah, pretty brutal. Tough on the guy for sure. Hope he gets to come back soon. Yeah, next season, and yeah, can hit the ground running. It's tough to miss a whole year like that, but yeah, we wish him all the best. I did want to make 2 more notes about the All-Star weekend in the NBA. The one note that I wanted to make was from the Rising Stars Challenge. The MVP, Jose Alvarado from the Pelicans, became the MVP there, had a phenomenal game, and was the only undrafted player in that game. He has just put his head down, has done amazing things in New Orleans. I think his high point total this year was like 39. He has really developed, very solidly there. He's got a nickname now. It's called Grand Theft Alvarado because he steals the ball so much on the court. He was super fun to watch in that game. He actually walked over to Donovan Mitchell when the game was right going down to the final seconds and said, "I'm going to hit the game-winning shot. If I do, you owe me a dinner." And sure enough, he did. He got a 3-pointer. He said, "D. Mitch owes me a dinner now," and brought his young daughter out when he was presented with the MVP trophy, and he was a blast. I really am excited for the future for this kid. He looked great.
Yeah, no, he's a great player, man, and he's a spark plug for the Pelicans. He really is. He will get them going, and he's got that little move that when they inbounds the ball, and if you're not paying attention to where he is, he'll hide in a corner of the court and then whipping around and steal the ball from you. So you always have to be very aware of where that guy is. He's a super pass, but he's super competitive, and it's been a pleasure to watch him play.
Yeah, I love him. Yeah, it's fun to see. Also, did you see who got the MVP of the celebrity game?
No, I didn't see that. Who did?
DK Metcalf.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yes, he did. Now, here's the funny thing. This is the one thing that definitely stood out to me as I was watching the highlights of the celebrity game. How much a superior athlete makes other people look like just normal mortals. His DK Metcalf's athleticism is absolutely god tier. Godlike. Like where you're just like, You just, like, first off, you just look at him and you just go,
Whoa.
is that a human?
What a
Doesn't look like you.
specimen. Yeah. Oh, his body is incredible, and the size of the guy. And he can how fast he can run, how much hops he has, just everything about the guy is just incredible.
Yeah, like it's like he's if you made him in a lab, you'd probably like, well, that turned out better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Cool. Like that's how hyper athletic he is. And some of the dunks and the moves, like I'm just like, okay. And so as if you're another celebrity just going, I don't know why I'm here. Like what is this? Like, this guy's ridiculous. This is insane. It's
Yeah.
absolutely insane. So
No,
yeah,
it was incredible. It was cool. I'm not sure about the celebrities. There was a lot of people that I'm like, who the hell is this? Who the hell is that? I don't know who picks them, who tries to find them. There was some that, obviously we know, but yeah, they were sort of scraping a little bit of the of the barrel to find enough celebrities to get in there. But I love seeing DK 20 points, 10 rebounds, and some of the dunks, some of the athleticism, like you say, were fun to watch. And really nice crystal basketball trophy that he won for winning the MVP. That thing looked heavy and beautiful. Gonna look cool on his mantle piece. And he seemed actually kind of touched that he was able to come in there and win that.
Well, yeah, of course he was touched because he was like, look at these normal mortals. It's gonna be easy money. I'm sure he was just licking his lips, just going, "Oh man, I'm gonna dominate this. It's gonna be fun."
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty awesome, pretty fun. Okay. I want to talk about the UFC for sure. I want to touch base a little bit on UFC 219 that just happened. And I really like to preview this coming weekend. There's a lot to talk about coming weekend, but I just want to talk about the XFL really briefly. I actually watched some games and was pretty thoroughly entertained. I was like, holy cow, they've got something here. I'm missing the NFL, and I always do immediately when the Super Bowl's done. I feel a little bit of those blue Mondays, a little bit of depression, thinking, "Oh man, it's gonna be a while before I see this game again." And XFL just boom starts up the next weekend smartly. They did something that I've wanted the NFL to do my entire life. They've made the last 2-3 minutes super exciting, and the NFL has never deviated from the plan where you can kneel down and kill 45 seconds every snap of the ball. How many games have I had to watch in my lifetime where the worst play in sports happens? The quarterback snaps the ball, looks around, and takes a knee 2, 3, 4 times in a row. It's so sickening and brutal that the NFL continues to have to make us endure that. The XFL came up with the new rules, and did you know what they are? Have you heard?
No.
How you can change it? How you can make it cool, make it better?
Okay, go ahead. Tell me.
Okay, so there's this game between San Antonio and St. Louis, okay? And San Antonio's winning, they're doing well. They're winning like 15 to, I think it was like 15 to 3. Seemed like it was in the bag. Last 2 minutes. By the way, San Antonio's head coach is Hines Ward, absolute gem of a receiver from Pittsburgh Steelers days. Wins a Super Bowl for him. So they get the ball. They march it down. They score a touchdown late. I'd say before 2 minutes, after the 2-minute warning, they score a touchdown. Then they have a chance to get they have a chance to get a 1-point convert. No kicks. You actually have to punch it in 1 point or a 2-point or a 3-point convert. You can go for a 3-point convert from the 10-yard line.
Oh, yeah.
They did it. They get the 3-point convert. Then they have this rule that I love, and I think the NFL is going to adopt it. Instead of doing an onside kick, you can take the ball on your own 25-yard line and have the ball at 4th and 15. And if you convert it, then you continue to march down the field. You can only do it in the 4th quarter. You can decide to do the onside kick if you want, but how often does the onside kicks work? Like probably less than 5% of the time. And
Right.
so St. Louis takes the ball at 4th and 15. Quarterback AJ McCarron fades back, looks around, finds Prohl. His last name is Prohl, Ricky Prohl's son.
Oh, okay.
And Ricky Prohl's dad is Ricky Prohl is the coach now for that team. And they convert it, they march it down, score a touchdown, and win the game in the last seconds of the game. It was cool and exciting, and it got a lot of talk over the last few days of something that actually made the game super exciting. That really wasn't there until that last few minutes.
That's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool that somebody was able to come up with a different rule set to make the game more entertaining.
Yeah.
Right. And I've never thought of doing something like that ever. So that's actually pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
Can you name me a worse play in sports than the kneel down by the quarterback? Can you think of a play that's worse than that? That's more of a yawn fest, brutal thing that we have to witness. 3 minutes left and you get 1 first down and that's it. Game over. Kneel. Like there's nothing else in sports that's worse than that.
No, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. The kneel down and then the call up for the timeout, and then all of a sudden, like 2 minutes turns into 20 minutes or whatever. But yeah, it's brutal.
And if you're a team that's behind and you for some reason called a timeout earlier in the game, even maybe 2, because you couldn't figure out what the play was in that 45 seconds, now you're even more screwed. It could be 5 minutes and that team has to get 1 or 2 first down and they win the game. I've always wanted it to be adopted where the clock stopped after every play, no matter what. No matter if it was a running play, passing play, the clock just stopped after every play, the last 2 minutes. And there would be an opportunity for possibly 2 scores, maybe even 3 scores in the last 2 minutes if they would have just adopted that.
Yeah, no, there would be a possibility of that. But then I don't think they would adopt something like that because of the length of the game. Then the length of the game would all of a sudden exponentially be longer. And so, yeah. But I understand what you're saying. Because then that would add a little bit more excitement to the game because then you just couldn't run off the clock, right?
Yeah. The Rock came out, introduced the season. Really liked his opening speech. I'm glad he's part of it. I'm behind The Rock on almost every project that he's put together, and I haven't been really given the XFL much of a chance. Definitely not the USFL. The USFL last year was kind of a joke to me. But from what I witnessed, big crowds, decent games, some former NFL guys, a lot of guys that are chomping at the bit to be shown. There's millions of football players around the world that want to have an opportunity that just aren't quite in the NFL level at this moment. But I think I'm really going to give the XFL a chance.
That sounds like maybe I'm going to have to give it a chance as well. I wasn't expecting anything from it, to be honest with you. But since you seem pretty excited about it, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. This is the first time they're back since 2020. The pandemic killed them. It's a 10-week season. The playoffs end the last week of April, right at the very end of the month. The championship game goes May the 13th. So not a massive commitment, only a couple, 2.5 months or whatever that is. The championship game will be at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. So the Arlington Renegades from Texas beat the Vegas Vipers 22-20. Arlington has Coach Bob Stoops, who's really famous for his being the coach in Oklahoma for a massive amount of years there. They were able to get a win without scoring a single offensive touchdown. They were able to get 2 pick sixes, and they got a massive sack of the Vipers quarterback as he was attempting a 2-point convert that would have tied the game in the final seconds. the cool thing about the guy that was tackled, his name is Luis Perez, the quarterback of the Vipers. He got the first touchdown in the XFL. This is considered XFL 3.0. This is their third season. First touchdown of the season of the XFL. He actually got the first touchdown pass of last season's USFL. He was with the New Jersey Generals there. And so kind of amazing trivia knowledge that he got the first TD pass of the season for the USFL and then the following season in the XFL. Kind of neat.
No, that is actually kind of neat. And that's good for him that he's talented enough to play in both leagues.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah. Second game had the Houston Roughnecks beat the Orlando Guardians 33-12 in Houston. Their coach is Wade Phillips, the 75-year-old defensive guru that we all loved back in the day. He was 82-64 in his NFL record as a head coach. The kid of Bum Phillips, who was another legend, and Houston's defense was awesome as well. They forced 4 turnovers, and they had 7 sacks of the QB. Their guy Trent Harris had 4 sacks, and Tim Ward had 2. So pretty impressive defense there. Third game had St. Louis Battlehawks beating the San Antonio Brahmas. I mentioned that 18-15. Phenomenal way to finish. I love that 4th and 15 conversion and going down and getting that. And the fourth game, they only have 8 teams, so it's 4 games a weekend. That's it. Washington, D.C. Defenders beat the Seattle Sea Dragons 22-18 in D.C. Ben DiNucci is their quarterback. He was a former draft pick of Dallas. He appeared in 3 games for the Cowboys. He was a guy that took over when Andy Dalton got a concussion. He came out and I think he got picked off a couple times, and they just said, "Okay, buddy, sorry, not ready for the NFL." Didn't really ever get another chance, but he played pretty well in this game. And the other thing that happened was in Washington, they started a beer cup snake, and they were just assembling, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cups, and it was becoming pretty epically long. And all of a sudden, the what they call rent-a-cop security guards came and confiscated it. It almost led to a full-scale riot. The fans ended up getting their hands on some lemons and just started pelting the field with lemons, and they started chanting, "Free the snake, free the snake," and then they chanted that for the rest of the game. They didn't give him back the beer snake, but it was kind of hilarious and interesting. And the other note I want to give was Josh Gordon ended up playing in the league. He played for 5 NFL teams in his NFL career. He had 252 catches, 4,284 yards, and 21 touchdowns. In 2013, he led the league in receiving yards, and he had 2 games in a row in 2013. First game, 237 receiving yards, and second was 261 receiving yards. Unfortunately, Josh Gordon had a lot of substance abuse problems and had a lot of suspensions. A lot of teams gave up on him with all the problems that he had off the field. Hopefully he's been able to pull it together. He did play for the Seahawks for a little bit. Now he's with the Seattle Sea Dragons and trying to resurrect a football career.
That would be pretty cool if he was able to actually come full circle and resurrect his career. I'm well aware of his the demons that he has had to fight, the substance abuse and stuff. It would be a great story if he's able to come all the way back, though. It would be a great story. It's actually even a great story now that he's even playing football. So
yeah, no, it's incredible. I'm very happy and impressed, and let's hope he's put all the problems in the past, and can have a really awesome future ahead. I'm going to give this XFL a chance. Hopefully they can pull it together. A lot of leagues have tried. and they've failed miserably against the big juggernaut that is the NFL, but let's give them a try. The USFL kicks off April, just before the XFL ends. They're acting really weird though. They're having 8 teams as well, but they're only playing their games in 4 host cities. Last year's all their games were held in Birmingham, Alabama. Every single solitaire team played all their games there. This time, there's only 3 teams playing in the cities they represent. So that's kind of brutal. It'd be hard to be a fan of a team where you can never see them play live. The New Jersey Generals, old team from way back, they are playing all their games in Canton, Ohio. Imagine trying to be a fan of your team, and the closest it is Canton, Ohio, which is pretty far away from New Jersey.
Yeah, that's odd. It's an odd way to structure your league and stuff, because then, yeah, it's going to be really hard for certain fans to be like fans of that team if they never play in your city where they're from.
I don't see it working out. I think there was like 50 to 100 fans per game at some of those games I watched in a stadium that looked like it maybe held 60 to 70,000. Like it was rough. It was rough there. Did you get hail where you were today?
Did you hear that? Did you hear that in the background?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think so. I don't have any windows open, but it sure sounded like it. I was just
I think it was here earlier, and I think it's headed your way, and I'm like, oh no. I did actually hear that we might be in store for some bad temperatures and some snow this week, so
yes.
hopefully not too much of it. The hail was enough. I got caught in it a little bit, but yeah, it was really coming down.
Yeah, no, I heard it. I'm just hoping that if it does snow, it doesn't stick. That's it.
Yeah, it becomes just a nightmare around here for traveling. That's just the tough part about it in this area of the world. So okay, why don't we blast into UFC 219 and talk about that event? There is I guess we'll just immediately jump into the main event. Aaron Blanchfield was supposed to fight Talia Santos, and Santos got an injury, had to be replaced, and they decided to put in the killer Jessica Andrade, number 3 ranked in the division, former strawweight champion, one of the best, toughest girls in the sport. She's only lost at 135 to former champions of the division. And so I thought, oh man, the UFC is kind of doing Blanchfield dirty here. Number 10 ranked 23-year-old putting her in against this killer. And bam, she just dropped Andrade like a bad habit and took her out. And really opened a lot of people's eyes to maybe this girl is one of the legit, really big contenders for this division and in this sport.
I think she took Andrade by surprise. I know she took me by surprise. I think what took Andrade by surprise, most certainly in the first round, was she stayed in the pocket and traded with him.
Yeah.
And I think Andrade is just like, wait, what's going on? It's happening. Because I think she was shocked, because I know I was shocked. I couldn't believe that she was actually willing to trade with her in the pocket.
Yeah.
And the way that she was doing it was beautiful. Beautiful footwork, beautiful slips. Like I was impressed. I was super impressed.
Yeah, I was blown away. She really just went right at her, was not afraid of her. In that second round, was able to take her down and really quickly get that rear naked choke in with her down. There was nothing for Andrade to do. She was just overmatched and took the loss. This really elevates Blanchfield's stock, and you don't usually see a number 10 contender winning a fight against somebody higher than them and immediately becoming in the conversation to be for a title. But she called out the winner of Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. It's happening in less than 2 weeks. And I think the UFC just might do that.
I think so too. I didn't foresee that she'd be able to beat the number 3, but she did. Like, it's either she fights the champ now or somebody at 1 and 2. That's it. Like that's it. That's all she can fight. So I think the UFC will probably give her that shot.
Yeah,
I think they will.
it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Andrade? Does her stock go down much? Do the I know the UFC loves it when somebody steps in on short notice. Maybe she hadn't been training quite, uh, quite seriously for a fight, and maybe having that short of notice maybe gave her a bit of a disadvantage. But does her stock really go down much?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, yes, she did take it on short notice. I think she took her opponent lightly, for sure. I think that was definitely a thing. But no, I don't think it drops much. It's just, she took a loss. She helped out the company too at the same time. But yeah, maybe she drops down to number 5 or 6, but not by much.
She wants to avenge a loss that she had to Weili Zhang and has called out Weili. She was talking about it pre-fight and all along. Do you think the UFC might give her a shot at Weili?
I think so. I think that's definitely on the cards. There's a definite possibility of that happening, but Weili also has other options as well. So we'll see. But it could be a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw Blanchfield beat Molly McCann with that crucifix and was able to take her out, and Molly McCann was on that sort of meteoric rise with Patty Pimblett together, I thought, okay, well, Blanchfield's pretty damn good. But this blew me away and really made her really legitimized in my eyes and many others. And I think she's shocked the world and really made a lot of people take notice. And good on her, to be able to seize this opportunity at 23 years old and, maybe having a title shot in a couple months. It's incredible. And it's something that I won't forget for a long time. See somebody this young coming in and seizing such a massive opportunity.
And just not be afraid of the moment.
Yeah.
She seized the moment. She took it, right? And that was the thing that just shocked me the most. I didn't expect that she would be ready for the moment, and she most certainly was.
She sure was, yeah. Okay, the co-main event. At first I wasn't super excited with it. I like Jordan Wright a bit. I didn't know much about Zach Pauga, other than he was with the Houston Texans as a fullback. And obviously athleticism. We've seen some former NFL players in the UFC, and we've seen some football players have some success, but he came in and wow, a very amazing clinch work, really grinded it out on the cage and was able to really take it to Jordan Wright and really get a very impressive decision win.
His grappling along the fence is what won him this fight. I was impressed with the elbows that he had close within the clinch. Yeah. Devastating elbows.
Big time.
Elbows and knees, man. Yeah. Like I was super impressed with his in close clinch work when it came to that.
He trains with Alistair Overeem, who was in his corner that night, and Curtis Blades, two heavyweights that have been around the game, two of the best in the world. That's pretty nice to be able to, at light heavyweight, be able to train with that kind of talent.
Oh yeah, no, I think that helped him immensely, and also too, like just the strength that he showed by controlling Jordan Wright up against the cage, up against the octagon all night. He had that advantage. So yeah, great win by Pagua.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Okay, speaking of heavyweights, Jamal Pogues was able to get a really good win over a tough guy in Josh Parisian. This is Jamal's UFC debut. Love his nickname, the Stormtrooper. I liked seeing his parents' octagon side there. His mom had undergone chemotherapy and cancer treatments, and seems like she's getting close to beating cancer, which is phenomenal. Really started cheering heavily for this guy. He broke his hand in the second round, he said, and he couldn't really use it, wasn't able to throw it, wasn't able to grip much with it, but still ground out a really, really big win over a tough guy in Parisian.
Yeah, no, he did well. He did well, and I think he obviously had a little bit more incentive having his parents be there and having his mom fighting off cancer and all that sort of stuff. Folks definitely had the grappling advantage in this fight. Definitely was able to continue to have top position for most of the fight, and just his grappling was several steps above what Parisian's was.
Yeah, his grappling was really good. I felt a little bad for Parisian, who broke his toes early on with a front kick. He looked down at his foot right away, and we weren't sure why he was looking down. And then later it was revealed that he did break those toes right away, and hard to plant, hard to move around the cage when you've broken all your toes early on in a fight.
Yeah, no, you know what? You could actually hear it. As I remember, he did the front kick, and it was louder than normal. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sounded a little off. And then that's when he looked immediately to his foot, and I thought to myself, either he broke his foot or he broke his toes.
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah. Both guys ended up in the hospital that night. I hope they ended up going and having a beer after they got stitched up or whatever, put some casts on. And it's tough. I have been to many UFC events, and you end up in the hospital after usually, and there's usually a lineup of fighters there with broken bones and various ailments, a lot of nasty cuts that they got to get stitched up and vice versa. It's pretty it's incredible tough sport, and these guys are just the toughest of the world. But both guys having to go to the hospital after this one.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's the walking wounded after after a night of fights, because like it's a rare thing to get out of a fight and not be injured.
Yeah, it's tough. And when you saw this this light heavyweight battle together, you thought, okay, William Knight, super compact, incredibly jacked, absolutely massive body on a guy who fighting a tall Polish fighter. Polish fighters, super, super tough. But the length, I thought, was going to be a problem for Knight. But I just thought his game plan had to be rush him, push him up against the cage, try to land some elbows, some uppercuts, try to, get that going. And Prachnio had an absolute perfect game plan. Keep Knight on the outside with leg kicks and just keep him coming, never let him get close. But I don't know if William Knight actually knew what time the fight started, because he never showed up. He just wasn't in this fight at all. It was non-competitive. Did he land any shots at all? It was a one-sided affair, and William Knight has to go back to the drawing board. Whatever his game plan was just terribly not working, and it was just 3 rounds of a guy kicking the guy's leg until he barely could walk. It was pretty brutal.
It was awful. It was an awful fight. He had an awful game plan, or if he even had one. Like what he should have been doing was closing distance, closing space immediately. Because that's what that guy wants to do. He wants to pick you apart from the outside, and he's known for his leg kicks. You already knew that going into the fight. So you have to close distance so he can't kick you. That's actually what you have to do.
Yeah.
And then he just didn't do it. First couple of kicks obviously didn't bother him, but the fact that he didn't do anything about it, didn't check him, didn't close distance, didn't actually engage, then guess what? He's just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, which is what he did, which was smart on Prachnio, which is like, if he's not going to do anything about it, I'm just going to keep kicking him. And that's all he did. Over and over again for 3 rounds straight. He just kicked him. Kicked him and kicked him and kicked him and kicked him some more and kicked him again. I'm pretty sure, the day after, Knight probably couldn't even move, but what did you expect?
Yeah.
If you're not going to change the narrative on how the fight's going to go by doing something different, then that's exactly what's going to happen. You're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, and that's
Yeah.
how we won.
That was tough to watch, man. That was tough to watch. And I've seen fighters get cut for less. He just didn't show up. And I don't know, like I wish I could have saw what his corner was saying to him. I wish I could have figured out what was wrong. He just seemed like he just really wasn't even there. He just took abuse and left after 15 minutes. And he got paid his show bonus, but man, it's gonna be hard to make him up against somebody else, because what the hell, man? That was a really awful performance.
No, it was horrible. It was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. And yeah, like I could actually literally see the UFC being like, yeah, no, and just cut him. Like that.
No.
That's how bad the performance was. I could see the UFC immediately cutting him from the roster.
Yeah. And he's such an incredible physical specimen. A guy that short and light heavyweight, is like really unique. And you think, okay, well, he's always got massive power. He just has to press up against the cage, like we saw earlier in the or later on in the card. Sorry, and we just got to have that game plan. Get in his face, throw some uppercuts, throw some elbows, get that fight, make it dirty. And I don't know what happened, but if he gets another chance, he better not have that kind of a performance, because his UFC career might be over.
If he does that again, his UFC career will be over.
Yeah. Great to see Jim Miller on this card. Legend, absolute legend. 41st UFC fight. They just kept showing record after record that he was chasing, that he owned. It's amazing to see some guys that have been in the UFC this long and still relevant. He had won 3 going into this fight, fighting a much younger guy in Alexander Hernandez. Loved his performance. Still, he definitely lost this fight, but I really like seeing some of the veterans. We've lost way too many over the last couple of years. Great to see him. He wants to still keep fighting for another couple of years, and I think he still can.
Oh, yeah. I think that's definite. Even Alex Hernandez said after the fight, he goes, yeah, that guy's tough as all get out. Like, he is tough as hell. Because he tried to get him out of there, and he goes, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was like, I tried, and it wasn't happening. Like, he gave him credit where credit was due. Like, he shut down, I think, from the accumulation of punches, I believe it was Jim Miller's right eye, all sorts of busted up. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he couldn't even see through that eye. But does that stop at Jim Miller? No, it does not. No, it just makes him more excited about the fight. It's like, okay, I'll just throw harder. That's what it seemed like. That was his response. I'm just going to throw harder.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love guys like that. And great to see. He's decided, Hernandez said 145 is his weight class, not 155 that they fought at here. So he's going back down. He's out of the Factory X team, which is phenomenal. Love the guys out of Denver, Colorado, the fighting at Elevation there. And it's a great team. Hernandez was tough as hell. I don't love his nickname, but that's no here, no there. But great to see Miller going past like Diego Sanchez, going past all these fighters, 6.5 hours, 6:45 in the octagon, passing guys. It's incredible, and can't wait to see Jim Miller fight again. He fought on UFC 100, 200, and he wants to fight on UFC 300, so he's got a little bit left to go. And I know that the UFC loves putting him on cards so they can recognize some of those guys that have been around and built this company to what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, too, like, he can still get it done. Now, the most important thing is he can still put on very entertaining, exciting fights, whether he wins or he loses. Exciting fights all the time.
The fight that was the featured fight of the prelim card, Nazim Sadikov against Evan Elder. This was a really amazing fight for a couple rounds. And this is a rarity where a fight gets stopped from a doctor's stoppage early in the third round and becomes fight of the night. They both got $50K for their performance. They both were just banging and giving everything they had. Both came into this fight 7-1, super evenly matched. I love this fight. It was my fight of the night, and they didn't. It was too bad it had to be stopped because of the cut. But yeah, for 2 rounds, they really delivered.
Oh, it was an awesome fight. Awesome fight. Equally skilled, like give and take, tit for tat, fighting in a phone booth by both of these gentlemen. And the only thing that sucked about this fight was that it didn't go to the judges' scorecard. It couldn't continue because of the cut over Elder's eye. By the way, though, that was a good stoppage.
Yeah.
I had no complaints with that stoppage because if you saw that cut, you're just like, yeah, that's a bad one.
It was nasty.
It was nasty.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You can get you can get some permanent damage going if you let that continue. And yeah, I think everybody was fine probably with that stoppage. But yeah, heck of a fight. Nice to see both those guys get a 50K bonus. Also getting a 50K bonus was the on the fight before. Myra Buena-Silva beating Lena Landsberg in the women's bantamweight fight. Nice performance from Silva. She took the fight to the ground, was able to control her. Landsberg sort of briefly looked like she was getting out of it, and then a knee bar submission just gets her leg, puts it in position, forces a tap. Very impressive grappling performance by Silva.
Very impressive. Landsberg, by the way, did the right thing. Immediate tap.
Yeah,
he knew that is like those are things that you just do not want to mess around with. Knee bars, leg locks, all of those kind of things like that. Yeah. That could change your career trajectory, meaning that you could not have one if you don't tap.
Yeah, it needed to be done, and yeah, good on her. She recognized it right away that she wasn't getting out of that, and yeah, it could have just tore her knee completely apart. So, yeah, okay, we should blast through some of the rest of this. Jamal Emmers, nice performance by him. Got the decision victory there over a guy that was 23-0 coming in. We don't really see in the UFC and MMA too many guys padding their records up to undefeated at 23-0. He had the most wins for an undefeated fighter in the UFC, but just getting his opportunity finally coming in. But Emmers said, "Hey man, there's levels to this game. I don't know who you were fighting on the regional circuit, but I'm not bowing down, and I'm taking you out." And he gave him his first loss. And I was like, okay, cool. Good to see a UFC guy that's able to show these guys that, maybe 23-0 in regional is impressive, but come in here and face the killers in UFC and you'll see what's next.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty obvious to me because, like, even in the commentary, I believe it was Paul Felder was mentioned that, well, he's fighting like a 23-0 guy because, like, there was holes in his game, big time, and it was being pointed out continually throughout the course of the fight. And the fact that Emmers was able to capitalize on those holes, because that's a higher quality of fight that Askabov had never fought before.
Yeah.
So he never had to worry about, like, being cautious or having to strategize or doing this or that. He always relied on his talent, and his talent did not carry him through.
No, I don't know. No, I love the forward pressure that Emmers used. He was great at counterpunching, awesome wrestling, great at defense. Really wasn't taking a lot. Had twice as many strikes as him landed, and I loved it. Emmers called out Andre Feely, and love to see those two guys bang. It would be fun to watch. And okay, the light heavyweight battle between Philip Lins and Ovince St. Preux. I thought, wow, great. This will be great. These guys will bang for, maybe a couple rounds. And no, you could see Lins just waiting about 10 seconds maybe, and just finally, bam, through that left, hit St. Preux, realized, okay, I've got this guy hurt. And then he just unleashed an assault on him, just threw strikes until he finally knocked him down and knocked him out. Awesome performance by Linz. Just was not taking a step backwards, was just going forwards and taking out OSP for sure.
Yeah, once he had him hurt, he blitzed him. He smelled blood in the water and he took him out. And I believe that was in a minute in the first round.
49 seconds.
49 seconds, under a minute in the first round. So Linz did great in taking him out and knowing that once he had St. Preux hurt, continue to keep going until he's done.
Yeah. St. Preux has had a great career, 10 years in the UFC. Has fought like 45 times and has really, he competed against John Jones for the title years back. And, he just took him out, just absolute killer. And Mark Smith saved OSP from further damage by jumping in as soon as he hit the canvas, and good move on him. The other earlier two fights weren't on our TV like you normally see them. They were the early prelims. I did watch them. AJ Fletcher got a submission victory with a great guillotine choke from the top. It was his birthday, so he was celebrating. He did make an announcement after the fight that he was down to his last $100 in his bank account as he was walking into the cage. And so he was really hoping badly that he could win, because he said, I wasn't even sure I would be able to pay my hotel bill fully when I walked out and checked out tomorrow. And he said, so I was a little bit nervous, but he was asking for $50K. I think they should have given it to him. If he was listening, come on. Like, the guy's that broke going in, and I don't know what he got for his show and when, but $50K would have even went that much farther for this kid.
Yeah, I know it would have. Hopefully, like sometimes they don't disclose that, but maybe he got a locker bonus. Hopefully, hopefully the company did something for the kid. Come on.
Yeah, so yeah. And also a great performance from Clayton Carpenter. He really showed great ground game and got the submission victory, was able to sink in a rear naked choke. There was immediately he hit the ground, was taken down. He put a triangle in, didn't quite get it. Then he transitioned, tried to get another armbar attempt, and then he finally was able to get on top. It got reversed, and he got the back and got the rear naked choke. He's out of the MMA lab in Arizona. I love that team, and nice way to kick off the card. It was pretty fun.
Oh, that's that definitely when you got a guy that can grapple like that and chain his submissions together to finally get the submission win.
Yeah,
always impressive.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Yeah. What else do I want to mention? There was they finally solidified a date and a card for Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo. It will be UFC 288, May the 6th. Aljamain is the bantamweight champion, and he's already made 2 title defenses. The last one's against TJ Dillashaw, UFC 280. Cejudo hasn't fought in nearly 3 years. Last fight was UFC 249, defending his belt against Dominic Cruz, and then said, I'm retiring, I'm done. But he has decided to come back. Aljamain has won 8 straight, and this will be a hell of a fight. Can't wait. It's only a couple months away now. Boom, they finally put it together.
Yeah, they finally put it together. I'm interested to see what new wrinkles Cejudo's put into his game, or is he going to come out and look like super rusty? Don't know. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. And also, too, I'm looking forward to see if Aljamain, if he gets him to the ground, does he dominate him?
Yeah.
Does Cejudo just like go, oh, I have nothing for this guy? That's going to be where the fight's going to be, won or lost, if Aljo can dominate him.
Yeah, I agree. And it's too bad it's 3 years. Oh, lost you for a sec, but you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It's too bad it's been 3 years. I think obviously there will be some rust there, but hopefully he can get training, and there's a time for get a really proper training camp and get a good game strategy and get maybe back to the top of his game. We'll see. A couple other notes that were mentioned this past weekend. Yuri Perhachka, they said will be returning this summer, and they will be putting him up against Jamal Hill, which is really good because of his shoulder injury and the surgery he had. They were worried about him not being able to come back for a really long time, but understand that everything's going really well and he's on track to fight for the belt against Jamal Hill in the summertime sometime.
I'm just gonna say this. I'm surprised because like the initial reports when it came out was just like he might never fight again.
Yeah.
Period. Right? Like just never again. Like that's how bad the shoulder injury was. My hope is, God, I really hope he's not rushing himself back.
No.
I hope he's not rushing himself back for this because, like, you know what? Your career is more important. Your health is more important than trying to get this belt back as quickly as possible. I hope he has the right people giving him the correct advice, and I hope he's not rushing himself back.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, let's hope. Another guy that's hasn't fought in a while but's coming back is Khamzat Chimaev. They said either June or July, sometime in there, and it's going to be against Robert Whitaker or Colby Covington. That's kind of cool that both those guys are in the mix. Should be fun either one.
You know what, I would rather see him fight Colby Covington because I would like to see who between the two is actually the better grappler.
Yeah,
I would love to see that war of grappling. I would love to see who's better.
Yeah, it'd be fun, wouldn't it? Yeah, very fun. So I mentioned I announced a couple weeks ago that Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury had agreed to fight finally, do a boxing match. And now I hear this weekend that he's agreed to fight Deontay Wilder. So I'm not sure who's fighting first. I'm not sure if that Tyson Fury fight just couldn't get put together in time. I'm not sure what's happening, but he's fighting either Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder for sure in a boxing match coming up soon. Keep tuned to Complete Sports Media, and I'll try to give you as accurate updates as I can.
Either way, this is why he walked away from the UFC. That's the reason. Said Dana White, say whatever the heck you want. That solidifies everything. That fight either be Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, or hopefully both. That will set him up for the future forever. Yeah. That's why you walk away from something like that. That's why it's like, yes, I was the heavyweight champ, but that's more important.
Yeah,
that's when you do that.
Yeah, I'm glad for Francis. These are going to be huge paydays for him, and I think they're going to be massive, well-attended pay-per-view events that a lot of people in the combat sports world are going to want to see.
Yeah, and then also too, a lot of the UFC vets, a lot of UFC fighters are going to take notice and be like, "Oh, so that's why he did that." Because I don't know how much he's going to make, but I'm pretty sure. I think I'm safe to say it's probably going to make over 20 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
So like, who wouldn't want that to help set up your family for the future?
Okay.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
It's awesome. Right? Yeah, exactly. I love it. One combat sports note. I'm not sure if you call it boxing or you call it. It's the bare knuckle. BKFC had an event this weekend. Greg Hardy got KO'd in the second round by Josh Watson. Watson's a scary looking dude. But I think this should be the end for Hardy. I think it's time to try to go back to football, XFL and USFL. That's where you should go. You're getting knocked out too often in this world of combat sports, and I don't think you're going to ever get there. I think you need to protect your brain and go back to football.
Yeah. I love how you just said that. Protect your brain by going back to football. Right. That makes sense. But no, I understand what you're saying. And I think he made the experiment. He tried it out. I don't think this is the right sport for him. I don't think he's going to find any more success doing what he's doing.
No. I think it's time to move on. So Okay, we've got another UFC fight night coming up this weekend as well. Early card is as it was this past weekend, 1 p.m. Pacific time for the prelims, 4 p.m. Pacific for the main card. Main event, Nikita Krylov against Ryan Superman Spann. The minor has won his last two fights after two defeats that he had before that. He beat Volkan Ozdemir in October by decision and Alexander Gustafsson in July of 2020. Ryan Spann is coming off two straight wins as well. Very impressive performance against Dominic Reyes in November by knockout, and he beat Ion Cutelaba, the Hulk, by submission his last time out. Yeah, I you know, they always say styles make fights, and I think this one was really well matched.
I think it's going to be a great fight because Nikita is super tough. Yeah. Right? When you think he's out, he's not out. He's still in the fight, man. He's still very much in the fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing this fight. I think it's a great matchmaking on their part, on the UFC's part. This is going to be a good fight.
Definitely. The co-main has Andre Muniz against Brendan All-In Allen. Muniz has won 9 in a row altogether, 5 in a row in the UFC, 2 more in the Contender Series coming in. He beat Uriah Hall last July, Eric Andrews and Jacare Souza in 2021. Arnold Allen is on a 3-game win streak, beating Jotka, Sam Alvey, and Alkanon in the last 3 fights. 8-2 all-time and all-time in the UFC. I think Munoz beats Allen in this one. Allen is a guy that you know, they've really projected as one of those contenders at the top of the division, but I think Muniz is just too tough.
And also too, he's peaking. I think he's peaking right now, and Brendan Allen's just going to be in tough against Muniz. He's going to be in tough in this fight.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for sure. The heavyweight fight, I'm not sure if I'm excited about this one. Augusto Sakai is fighting for his UFC life after coming in losing 4 in a row. He lost to Sergey Spivak, Tai Tuivasa, Jairzinho Rosenstrike, and Alistair Overeem in his last 4. Dante Mays, he comes in off a loss. He won the last 2 before that. His fight that was a loss was actually overturned though, because Handy Al-Dawahab tested positive for steroids after the fight, so they ended up making it a no contest. But yeah, Sakai doesn't win this fight. I think he's searching for another organization, and Mays might be sending him packing into retirement from the UFC.
Yeah. So hopefully he's going to come out with a sense of urgency right away in this fight, and maybe he throws caution to the wind. Maybe just like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go for the knockout or get knocked out myself.
Yeah.
So it could be an exciting fight.
Could be, yeah. You're right. Yeah, good point. The women's flyweight fight, Tatiana Suarez is the biggest favorite on the card. Even though she's returning to the cage after 1,358-day layoff. That is, you know, sort of Aldo-like. Cejudo-like we were talking about earlier. It's a long layoff, longest of her 9-year career. She's a phenomenal fighter, 9-0, 5-0 in the UFC. She previously fought at strawweight, so she's moving up to flyweight. We'll see if there's rust there, but yeah, for some reason the odds makers have her as the biggest favorite on the card.
Well, we haven't seen it for a long time. Odds makers, especially in Vegas, they usually know their stuff. So I'm excited to see her. I'm excited to see what she's added to her game, and I think she should be able to win this fight. but it really kind of depends on how much rust is there.
Yeah. Montana De La Rosa, who she's fighting, has her last 4 wins have all been stoppage wins, 3 of them by submission. And yeah, she's talented, but yeah, I think this is a bit of a mismatch as long as Suarez doesn't have that cage rust that we see sometimes. The fight that happens right before this is a welterweight fight, and I'm excited because there's Canadians on this card, but they're fighting each other. Why do you do this to us, UFC? We do not want to see our Canadians lose, and one of them is definitely going to lose that night. So Mike Malott and Johan Lioness, the White Lion, both these guys I love. I've been watching them on the regional circuits. I've been watching them come up. They both went through the Dana White Contender Series. Were able to get themselves onto the UFC roster. And I love both of them. I'm going to have the hardest time knowing who to cheer for. And I guess I'm just going to have to watch impartially and let it happen. But I'm glad to see some Canadian content. But please, UFC, don't put them against each other.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. It kind of sucks that they actually have to fight one another. But at least the good thing is we have 2 new Canadian fighters in the UFC. So that's something to celebrate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for sure. The Lioness, the White Lion is his nickname. He fights out of Quebec. He is part of the Brazilian top team that they have in Quebec there. You got to see some of his highlights. His flying knee knockout in 2020, it went viral back then. It lasted 14 seconds. He just jumped, nailed the guy with his knee, and it was a walk-off KO. Just totally impressive. This was when he was fighting for Cage Fury FC. And then when he went into the Contender Series, his Contender Series knockout that got him the contract, another one of those viral videos, highlight knockout. Justin Burleson, just an incredible left that just cracked him on the jaw and sent him crumbling to the canvas, and got him a contract. That was really cool. I really recommend checking this guy out. He's, I think, on a great rise and will be good. That was in November 2021. He had a split decision his last fight. Who else? Oh yeah, and I want to talk about Mike Malott. He's from Burlington, Ontario. He got a Dana White contract with a 39-second guillotine choke that got him, just a ton of applause right away. He's from Team Alpha Male currently, and as I said, it's going to be tough to know who to cheer for, but I just hope that they both put on really impressive performances, and let's hope fight of the night so they both get 50K walk away with.
That would be for the best for both men. Win or lose, they get fight of the night. They get rewarded with 50K. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. The first fight there, lightweight fight to start off the main card. Eric Gonzalez, Ghost Pepper against Trevor Peek, making his UFC debut. The Ghost Pepper Eric Gonzalez, 0-2 in his UFC career, so not a very good start. They've been able to bite that Ghost Pepper and still keep continuing to fight. And he better not lose another one, because he might start being in jeopardy of not continuing his UFC career.
Yeah, he has to win. He's got to win, and he knows he has to win. Because if he doesn't, he's out. He's going to be out very shortly and soon.
Yeah, it won't be good. I love Jordan Levitt. He has also had some amazing highlight reel victories. He had this 22-second body slam victory that just was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. That happened in like December 2020. And he is only one of 3 fighters in the history of the sport to get one of the reverse inverted triangle choke victories. That was another super impressive performance and a great one. He lost to Paddy Pimblett last time out, but he is one of those guys that really has so much abilities, can really beat you in so many different ways, and I'm looking forward to his fight against Victor Martinez.
He's super talented, and I always remember him for like his celebrations after he twerks. It's a twerk.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Very fun, wasn't it? Yeah, he does the twerking. And then we have Charles Johnson, Odie Osborne. Odie Osborne. Let's see. Oh, Charles Johnson has to step in. Odie Osborne lost his original opponent, Dennis Bodner, late replacement here. We'll see how this turns out. Johnson is 2-1 in the UFC. Odie, the Jamaican sensation, is 4-3 in the UFC, coming off a loss to Tyson Nam, but I love this southpaw. He fights out of Syndicate MMA in Vegas under John Wood. Love that team. They work with so many of the top fighters all the time because they're in Vegas and they are able to really get guys ready for fighting. They fought with or they had Cowboy Cerrone in their camp for years, Khalil Roundtree, Forrest Griffin, Frank Mir is one of their coaches. The Shapiro brothers are their jiu-jitsu coach. John Wood, love John Wood and what he's brought to the table. Daniel D. Rod Rodriguez. I could just go on and on and on. This team, Syndicate MMA out of Vegas, is fun and good to see some more guys. Some guys fought from Syndicate this past weekend. Almost every card we see one or two guys. So it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good card. I look forward to it, and I most certainly am looking forward to the main event, the main card.
There are UFC debuts for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fighters. We're going to see new blood coming into the UFC, and hopefully they can all put on really good performances.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really and especially with the Canadians. Hopefully they get their 50K.
Yeah, 50K both. Yeah, let's hope and pray. See if we can do some influencing, send some great tweets out there, and get them recognized. Last thing I want to mention, we had a loss over the weekend. The guy's name is Red McCombs. Some of you might not know him, but he was very instrumental in the sporting world. He owned 2 NBA teams and an NFL team in his life. He was able to take over the San Antonio Spurs when they were in some financial difficulty, rejuvenated that franchise, sold it off to somebody else, and he ended up doing the same thing in Denver. When the Denver Nuggets were in a bit of financial difficulty, he took that franchise, built it back up, sold it. San Antonio the new owners decided they didn't have enough to own the team anymore. They sold it back to Red. Red owned it for a second time, was able to usher in that era with Popovich, Tim Duncan, all those guys winning 5 NBA championships. And then he bought the Minnesota Vikings of the NFL and was very instrumental in the sporting world. Just passed away this weekend at the age of 95. Incredible life. Was able to really, really, really do great things in the world of sports. Survived by his 3 daughters, 8 grandchildren, and 11 great grandchildren. Pretty awesome life, and great that he was able to step in and save some teams that we love to this day.
Yeah, no, it was awesome that he was able to do that, and then also to usher in a dynasty with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, and with great Popovich at the head. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah, super amazing. So he will be missed, but 95 years, very impressive life. He owned something like 400 businesses in his life and was all around a great guy from what everybody has been saying last couple of days. So but yeah, man, awesome. Thanks for getting off the couch and being able to help me with the podcast. Wish you would have been feeling better yesterday, but I'm glad you're back to feeling healthy and we were able to do this tonight.
Yeah. Thanks for understanding. And definitely feel 100% better than what I did yesterday.
Nice. Glad to hear. Yeah. Okay, we'll have a good week ahead. Pray for no snow that sticks. And let's pray for 50K for both our Canadian guys on this UFC card. And yeah, we're down to the really kind of the stretch drive of the NBA too. We're gonna start seeing this playoff matchups emerge. And we've got this new NBA bar called Courtside, and it's just NBA all the time. They don't show anything else on any of their TVs. All NBA memorabilia in there. Everybody's an NBA fan. It's phenomenal. I can't wait to go there with you, watch a bunch of games. It's going to be fun this year for the playoffs and going to check out this local bar. Finally, we got a dedicated NBA bar in this city.
Yeah, it's been too long. It's taken too long for it to happen, but I'm glad it has. And yeah, we're going to enjoy many playoff games at this new bar.
Okay, man. Cheers. Take it easy. Say hello to everybody for me this week. Have a great week ahead and keep in touch. We'll talk soon.
Definitely. We'll keep in touch, my friend.
Okay.
Talk soon.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. Awesome. Well, we did it. We put it together. That was phenomenal. Lots of fun. Man, we covered a lot as always. And yeah, thanks a lot for sticking in. I appreciate your support. Speaking of support, I want to thank our partners and sponsors. Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast, phenomenal at posting on multiple podcast platforms. If you want to do podcasting, they're the first place you got to look. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, the industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And V350 stick is a must-have. Pampas and Possibilities, designers of really beautiful West Coast things for your home, spruce it up, make it look great. I recommend bringing them in and yeah, helping out, really turning your home and your house into a home. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. You can purchase products on our website for reduced rates. And yeah, go check out our website as always for lots of great content. And stick in. We're going to be doing lots of podcasts now that I'm retired and I have the chance to do it. So take care of yourself. Have a phenomenal week ahead, and we will see you very soon. Love ya. Bye for now.